Hey guys, my name is Dr. Trinisha Smith, aka Island Doc, and thank you for stopping back by. As you can tell from the title of this video, it is all things Luxe Tribes, so let's get directly into it. I do have a few notes here. I did make some notes because I did not want to forget anything and I want to be not as biased because as you know, I love Luxe Tribes, So what we're going to start off with first is the general pros and cons of Luxe Tribes as a company. My first pro is basically on the group trips, they take photos of everything. You get basically photos included within the package. So you get pictures at all of the major sites of the actual trip. You get photos at dinner. You get photos outside of dinner. Like, it takes the stress off of, oh my gosh, I didn't get to take a picture here. I didn't get to take a picture there. I didn't get to do blah, 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 blah. But it takes that part out, the stress of trying to make sure you get the perfect photo out of the equation. And the photos are top quality. Now look at my pictures. Come on. You can't tell me that he did not do his big one, especially the trip in Dubai. Like, they take such great photos, and these are memories I'm gonna remember for a lifetime. Now, the next one is less stress in general. I don't know if y'all like me, I get overwhelmed very easily, and so the fact that my itinerary is already made, all the excursions are already booked, the transportation is already booked, only thing I have to do is show up. That is the type of trip I like. I just want to show up. I don't want to have to be doing all this, calling this one, trying to figure out how to book this one. I won't do that. I want that already done. And the great thing about with Luxe Tribes, you do have like a pre-trip call, I believe. Yes, you have a pre-trip call, and basically you can tell them if you want to add it, you want to do an extra excursion here, or you want them to help you book this there. They'll do that for you. Less stress. Do you want to stress on vacation? Because I don't go on vacation to stress. I don't. So if you're like me, you're gonna like that little addition. The next good thing about Luxe Tribes is they have payment plans. Listen, these big trips are not cheap. They're not. So if you are wanting to go on these big trips and you know you can't drop that kind of money on the spot, then the idea of being able to pay this on payment plans is super flexible and super convenient. Because hey, we all want to go to Greece, we all want to go to Dubai, we all want to go to these big places, but to drop that on one sitting, it ain't easy, baby. It ain't easy. So at least having this as an option, you have the ability to pay it full if you want to, if you got it like that. But at least you have the option to make this trip a little bit more affordable and to make that goal of traveling to these places that you really want to go to a little bit more attainable. So I love that. The next pro of Luxe Tribes is they have so many locations to choose from. Like, every year I try to do a big trip. And the fact that I have to really stress myself out, but don't be like me. Because there's so many options. Like, okay, I want to go to Greece. I want to go to Bali. Ooh, I want to go to Thailand. Ooh, I want to go to Tokyo. Ooh. Literally. There's so many places. Whether you want to stay and go into Europe, if you want to go to the Caribbean, if you want to go, I don't know, you want to go to Latin America. There's so many options for you to choose from. So many. And when there's more options, there's more decisions to be made, and there's a little bit more flexibility for your group. For instance, if you're going with a group and you guys have a certain thing in mind, and the other good thing about Luxe Tribes is if you don't see a location on there, if you don't see one, 99% of the times, they're able to create that trip for you anyway, and so book what you need to book. So, come on. It's like a no-brainer. Another pro of the Luxe Tribes trips, you have the options for group travel. So this group is basically just a bunch of other solo travelers traveling together in a group. You still can have your own room and all that stuff, but you do like most of the excursions and stuff together. And then you have the private trip, which can be either a private trip can be either private group or private single. With the private group trip, you have the same kind of activities, but it is private. So it's just you and your friends are on these excursions together. That's about it. And then you have private solo. And private solo is basically you're on these trips by yourself, no other people, basically, but there is a point of contact in whatever location you're at to kind of book if you need, for instance, if you need transportation, that type of stuff. But I'll get more into that when I break down group versus solo trips. But that is the pros of Luxe Tribes, general pros of Luxe Tribes so far. Like, have I convinced you yet? I know I have. But without pros, we still have to go into cons. And honestly, there's not a lot of cons, but I do want to be fair and talk about the things that I actually noticed. So the cons is airfare is not included. So you're paying a pretty penny. And the flights is not included. There are some other travel companies that do have the airfare included. So this is something I think would make it a con, because if they were able to get that airfare in there too, they'll be 10 out of 10. So I can only give them a little 9 out of 10 because it does not have the airfare included. So you do have to keep in mind the prices you see listed on the website do not include airfare. They do not. Another con is just the prices in general can be a little bit intimidating. I know some people, they see the price, they're like, oh my gosh, this is such a high price. I don't know if I can pay all that. And honestly, I feel like it's a valid response, because if the prices look high, it's just like, how am I supposed to do this and still have a home to come back to when I have this vacation? And that is a valid thing. So yes, the prices can be a little bit intimidating. The next con is that hiccups can happen, as in life. And I threw that in there because I had no more other cons for this company. I didn't have a lot of cons, but there can be hiccups. At least I know on my Dubai trip, there was a little bit of a hiccup where we had to like switch something out for like spa and stuff, and they didn't really communicate very well, and the communication was kind of trash. But they did rectify the situation, and in my following trips, I haven't had any issues. But I did think it's important to mention that hiccups can happen. But just make sure you're able to basically voice your opinion and say, hey, what's going on with this, and you know, keep in contact with the person you have assigned to keep contact with. I think once you do that, you got everything covered, baby. So that is the pros and cons of Luxe Tribes in general. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna break it down a little bit smaller. So I'm gonna show you the difference between group, private group, and private solo. Basically, with the group trip, with the group Luxe Tribes trips, it's basically a bunch of other it's a bunch of other solo travelers coming together to do all of the excursions and trips together. So that's simply what it is. You probably don't know anybody else in the group. You can have a friend come with you as well, and then you'll probably know somebody, but most of the time it's just a bunch of other solo travelers who don't have anybody to go and travel along with. So they want to do this trip, but they don't want to do it by themselves. So the next one is a private group. So a private group is basically you want to do like a birthday trip with your friends, and you just want it to be your friends. You don't really want some strangers inside that equation. Then you would do the group private trip. Then you have the private solo trip, is you just want to travel by yourself. You don't really want to be mixing up with other strangers and other solo travelers. You just want to do this thing on your own, and you just want the luxury of having it booked and having everything planned and you just showing up. So that is the major differences. So what I'm going to go into now is the pros and cons of group travel. So let's do this. You know, I gotta look at my notes. So the first pro is that you meet so many different people from different backgrounds. I made some long-term friends from my first trip in Dubai. I met the wonderful Sierra. Like, she's one of my long-term friends. And who would have thought? Like, this is my first time going traveling with Luxe Tribes. I didn't have much big expectations. I wasn't sure I was going to meet anybody. I was like, I don't know. I don't really know how this is going to be. But she became a long-term friend for me. So if you're looking to make friends, a group trips is a perfect opportunity for you to meet people from different walks of life. Like, you'll find somebody you click with. I think every group trip I've done, I found somebody I clicked with. It's just what it is. Another pro of the group trips is that you're never alone. Literally, there's other solo travelers on this trip as well. So there's always an opportunity for you to interact with other people. And if you want to take a solo day, that is okay as well. It is up to you. Another pro of the group trip is all of the curated experiences. All the curated experiences, they provide you with like a packed itinerary with lots of things to do. You're hitting all the major sites in whatever location you're at. So you'll never feel like, oh my gosh, I didn't get to do this, I didn't get to do that. Missing this itinerary is packed. You're gonna see everything you're supposed to see. I can guarantee you that. Another pro of the group trip is more bang for your buck, because a lot of the stuff transportation is included, and usually transportation will cost the most sometimes in like the foreign countries. but transportation is included. So they take you from excursion to excursion, bring you back to the hotel. You're gonna be covered transportation wise all the time. So that is a big pro, at least for me. And like I said before, another pro is that you can engage and disengage from the group as much as you want. If you want to spend more time with yourself, you can. If you want to be in the group more, you can. Like, I remember when I was on the trip in Dubai, a lot of people, sometimes they decide, I don't really want to do this excursion we have today, so I'm just going to do my own thing. And they just went and did their own thing. And that is perfectly fine. Listen, it's all up to you. The trip can only be made when you make it. You make the trip whatever you want it to be. So if you want it to be important and engaged, you can. If you don't, just don't. Now for the cons. The one con is a packed schedule. So like I said, it is a pro and a con of the packed schedule, because sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming because they're trying to hit all these major sites into one trip. And so it can feel like, oh my gosh, every minute we're doing something. I just want to sit. And then you're just moving around, doing this. But it's great because you get to see so much stuff, but it can be a little bit overwhelming. So that's why I put that as one of the cons. Also too, with the group trips, they're not necessarily, another con of group trips is that it's not necessarily customizable, because they already have a preset itinerary for you to hit all these major sites. So some things you may not be that interested in, like maybe you're not into history, so you may not want to do this history thing, you want to do something else. So you're just like, if I had to choose, I would probably pick to do something different. But the beauty of that trip, like I said, if you want to do it, you don't have to do it. If you don't want to do it, you can just disengage and say, I'm just going to take this as a solo day, and do your solo day. But like I said, it's not really a customizable experience with the group trips. You're kind of set to this pre-made itinerary. Another con of group trips, is personalities can clash. They can definitely clash, so just keep that in mind. You have these stronger personalities, you have these quieter personalities, and then you have these complaining personalities. These are all things you may encounter. I think as long as you're like strong within yourself and strong with how you do things, like me personally, I tend to just enjoy myself wherever I go. I don't like to complain, especially on trips, because I feel so grateful to even be on the trip. But sometimes people, how they process things, they have to complain out loud, and it's just basically understanding that their complaining has nothing to do with me. Just let them complain, ignore them, and enjoy what you have going on. But yeah, sometimes the personalities can clash a little bit, just a little bit, but that's how it is with any sort of like group girl trip, honestly. Also too, with like group trips, traveling with a group can be a different dynamic. So if you're looking for like a solo travel, more intimate experience, then the group trips may not be a good fit for you. I think group trips are perfect for someone who's a little bit more on the scarier side, and you're like, I don't really want to do this by myself. I want to share these experiences with somebody, and maybe I'll have to share with a stranger, but I'm too afraid to try this on my own. I think then group trips would be the perfect thing for that type of person. So now I'm gonna go into the pros and cons of private trips. So we're gonna go over the pros and cons of private solo trips. So honestly, I love a little private solo. So one is you get out of your comfort zone. You're by yourself. You don't have the luxury of leaning on any random stranger, solo traveler, or like your friends that you brought with you from home. It's all about you. And that leads me into the next pro of private solo trips. You do your vacation your way. If you want it to be a high energy trip, it can be a high energy trip. If you want it to be a low energy trip, it can be a low energy trip. I'll never forget when I did my Thailand trip. That was my first private solo trip. It felt so good to be like, I actually don't want to go to dinner tonight. I want to stay at the hotel. And that being able just to make that decision, and that be that. Like, I don't have to even feel bad, like, oh, maybe this other person in the group wants to do this, and I just said I don't want to go. No, it was all about me. Like, the focus was me. And so if you're looking for a trip for it to be all about you and your needs and how you want to do your vacation and how you want to feel on your vacation, the private solo trips is perfect. I think if you're intimidated about traveling by yourself, I think the private solo trips is the perfect place to test out traveling alone. And I can tell you, I can guarantee you, once you've experienced that one time, you don't ever want to go back. You don't ever want to go back. So that's just something to keep in mind. I don't really have much cons for the private solo trip. The only thing is that you're by yourself. is you're by yourself. So there may be some experiences like, oh, I wish I could show somebody this, or I wish someone else could experience this with me. But I just sent my family and friends pictures. That's it. So that's a way to curb that. So not much cons there. So let's go into the private group trips. Pros, like I said before, customized plans. So like you have a pre-call before you go on the actual trip. And so when you have that pre-call, you can say, hey, I want to add this excursion in here. I'll take that excursion out. Can you book me dinner at this place I saw on Instagram? Can you book that? I want this at 8 o'clock. Like there's opportunities to customize the entire thing. So it's not like you're just thrown out there to do whatever. You have the ability to say, I want to do this A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P. You have the opportunity to plan and do everything you want to do on your trip, whether you want it to be high energy, low energy, mid energy, whatever energies you want to do. But that is a pro. Oh wait, this is a con of private solo trips, is that it can be a little bit annoying taking your own pictures. I found that was probably the most thing that I was like, I wish I had someone to take some better angles. But honestly, especially the people in Thailand were so nice. Like, I didn't really need anybody. I got some good pics because everyone was super friendly. So I guess that will push you to talk to people and make friends. So use that as an opportunity to meet people. That's all. It's a con, but use it as an opportunity to meet people. Another pro of the private group or solo trips, honestly, is you always have a point of contact. So whatever location you decide, there is a person in that location able to basically, if you need like a little help booking like transportation, or if you want to book an excursion or dinner, they can book that for you. So you can just send them, they do like a WhatsApp chat. And within the WhatsApp chat, it's like, hey, can you book me this? Or hey, can you book me that? So for instance, like I was in Thailand, there was this rooftop I really wanted to go to. It was Tua, which is amazing, by the way. If you go to Thailand, you have to check it out. Views out of this world. Look at that. But I just basically sent a message to my point of contact in the WhatsApp, and she booked it in like literally 10 minutes. And she was like, do you need a car too? I was like, yeah, I need a car too. And she booked my car. The transportation came and got me. I went to Tua, which was like an hour away. I don't know why I picked that far place, but it was an hour away, but it was perfect. And I got transportation back, so I didn't even have to think about, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna get back home or whatever. Like everything was covered. Like that is what we call low stress travel. That's what I like, and I know you probably like that too. So that is pretty much the pros and cons of like private group, private solo. I know I kind of mixed them all up in there, but I started remembering stuff after the fact, so you gotta forgive me. What I do want to end this video saying is, like I said, I love Luxe Tribes. I've had great experiences with them. A lot of my most favorite memories have been on Luxe Tribes trips. Like the friendships I've made, the memories I've created, they are all invaluable. Like they're so priceless. And I just want to remind you that time lost can never be regained. I know the idea of taking that trip maybe seem a little bit daunting, but if you are on the fence about booking a trip by yourself or even with like other solo travelers, take it from me. I got tired of waiting on friends and people flaking out on group trips and all this, planning these group trips. And I started doing things on my own, and you don't understand the level of freedom you get from just stepping out there and doing things your way. You'll never regret that. You'll never regret the experiences you made. You'll never regret the friendships you made. And I just want to encourage you that if you have been looking to travel, just travel. Take that opportunity. Go on that payment plan. Be responsible. You know what you know what's within your means. And the great thing about Luxe Tribes is a variety of trips with different price ranges. So pick something within your price range, work towards that goal, and take that trip, whether it be by yourself, private group, solo, or group. Just take that trip. If you found this video helpful, like, subscribe, share with a friend. It has always been a pleasure doing these videos for you. So if you have any other recommendations, if you want more information about something I spoke about in this video, just leave a message in the comments. I'll be sure to get back to you. I may even create a follow-up video for that. But like I said, thank you for watching the video if you stayed all the way to the end. Love you, bye.